In lesson 18 here in module 3, we're going to go and look at multi-step word problems involving addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. This is not a new lesson. It's something we've done before, but it's excellent practice. It's sort of at the core of what we do here in 3rd grade. It works on your ability to multiply and divide, but it embeds that work or puts that work into word problems, and in this case, multi-step word problems. So it asks you to make sure you're reading really carefully and understanding directions really well before you get started. And then it also makes you practice your math facts and the strategies that we've learned this year. But I would say that the most important part is definitely being able to read and understand the directions well. So let's take a look at what I have here. And these problems, I'm going to do 4 of them with you. These are basically straight from the homework. Here in 2021, I know we're not doing the homework because we're learning at home right now, but in future years, you may also have homework that looks very similar to these. I've just changed the numbers. So step 1 is to read the problem and understand what it's asking you. I would suggest that you read it 2 or even 3 times and really work to understand what you're being asked to do. So Mrs. P's cat weighs 7 kilograms. So I'm gonna write that down. Cat equals 7 kilograms. That's important information. Her dog weighs 19 kilograms more than her cat. That's an important word right there. More than her cat. A common mistake is to say her dog weighs 19 kilograms and stop. Your brain sort of stops thinking right there, but that's not what it says. It says it weighs 19 kilograms more than her cat. So dog equals the cat's weight, which is 7 kilograms, plus 19 more kilograms. What is the total weight of the cat and dog? Total, we're going to say that equals W. We'll put that as a variable right now. We're not sure. So here's all of my information. I'm going to read the problem one more time to make sure I didn't miss anything. Mrs. P's cat weighs 7 kilograms. Her dog weighs 19 kilograms more than her cat. What is the total weight of the dog and the cat? Okay, so all I see in here is addition. We're just taking weights and adding them together. We're not multiplying, we're not dividing, we're not subtracting. So this was pretty straightforward. So step 1, I'd be like dog plus cat equals total weight, right? So the dog's weight is 7 plus 19. The cat's weight, so that's the dog's weight, plus the cat's weight. Just drawing the arrows there to help you understand where these numbers are coming from, equals W. Well, we could solve what's in the parentheses first, although it's all addition, so we could do it in any order. But 19 plus 7 is 26. 19 plus 7 becomes 26, and you're going to add 7 to that, and that's the total weight. Remember, we're measuring in kilograms. I'll even write that in here. 26 plus 7 is 33. So we have 33 equals W. So and a sentence would be like they weigh 33 kilograms together. So that one's pretty straightforward. It just requires that you pay very close attention to the words in the problem and understand what's being asked of you. All right, let's move on to another one. Get a little more complex here. Darren spends 28 minutes studying for his science test. I'm just going to make a note of that over here. Actually, I'll just say studying. Study 28 minutes. Now, if it turns out I don't need that information later, I can cross it off, but I'm going to put it to the side for now. He then does 3 chores. Okay, chores. 3 of them. Each chore takes 7 minutes. 7 minutes each. I'm trying to write small, so I save myself room on the right side over here. How many minutes does he spend studying and doing chores? So study plus chore equals T. We'll put that as, we'll make it B, random variable there. Okay, so the studying, I don't have to do anything to that. Like that's just an amount. They gave us the amount already. We don't need to add or subtract, multiply, or divide. But the chores part we do because he does 3 separate chores and each chore is 7 minutes. Now, think about that. That's a number of groups, 3, and an amount for each group, 7. So that's multiplication. We have number of groups and size of the group. So 3 times 7 is the first step. So I will say 3 times 7, that's going to give me the chore. And we're going to add that to 28 because that's the time that he spent studying. Okay, and that's going to equal B. 3 times 7, we know that that's 21 minutes. So again, I'm only drawing the arrows here to show you where my 21 came from. Plus 28, because he just straight up spent 28 minutes studying. We don't have to do anything to that number, like I said. So 21 plus 28, oops, equal sign, not plus sign, equals B. Now, some of you may know this, but when you get a 2-digit by 2-digit, we still need to be in the habit of adding these up vertically, get good habits with this. 8 plus 1 is 9, 20 plus 20 is 40. So B equals 49 minutes. And your sentence then would say something like Darren spends a total of 49 minutes doing chores and studying. So the key there, same with the first one, is the reading comprehension part. And in this part, my pen would work. It would be super convenient right now. There we go. Kind of. It's going really slow on me. And now it's doing its own thing. This pen really is quite an adventure. Let's try something different. I'll highlight it. So he does 3 chores. Each chore takes him 27 minutes. The key to this problem is you reading those 2 sentences and understanding that that represents multiplication. So always ask yourself, like, what is this part asking me to do? And make sure you understand that before you try to go and do the actual math. Like you're going to be successful if you can understand what needs to be done before you even start trying it. If you just try to jump in and start putting numbers together sort of arbitrarily, you're going to find it much more difficult. All right, let's go on. We got 2 more problems to try here. And again, these are coming straight from the homework. I've just changed the numbers. Again, in 2021 here, I know we're learning at home right now, so you're not going to do the homework. But in future years, if you're watching this, 3rd graders, then this is going to relate really closely to your homework. Leslie weighs her marbles in a jar, and the scale reads 368 grams. So she has a marbles in a jar, and the total weight of those things is 368. So total equals 368 grams. Now we already know that this is different than the other 2 that we've done, because in the other 2 we've been looking for a total, whereas in this one we're given the total at the beginning. So we already know we're going to do something a little bit different. The empty jar, so the jar, weighs 313 grams. So that, like, if you emptied out all the marbles and all that was left on the scale was the jar, it would weigh 313 grams. Okay. How much? Okay. Each marble weighs 5 grams. Marbles, 5 grams. This next word is important. Each. So don't be tricked into thinking there are 5 marbles or anything like that, or that they all together weigh 5 grams. It means each individual marble weighs 5 grams. So a lot to pick apart in this problem. How many marbles are in the jar? So number of marbles equals M. That's the thing we don't know. That's our unknown, our variable. So we have a lot of information in a relatively short problem, and we need to figure out what to do with it. So I know that this is marbles. Oh, I forgot an E. There it is. Plus jar. And this is just the jar. So if I find the difference between those 2, I'm going to find the total weight of the marbles. So let's do that first. 368 minus 313. So this is the total minus the jar. And the result of that is going to be the weight of all the marbles. Okay. So let's see. 8 take away 3. That is going to be 5. 6 take away 1. Look, we don't even have to do any regrouping with this one. It's going to be 5. 3 minus 300 minus 300 is 0. So we have 55 grams. So altogether, the marbles weigh 55 grams. Good information, but we're not done yet because the question asked how many marbles are in the jar. That's the other thing. Make sure you answer the actual question they're asking. Don't get to this point and be like, solved it, Mr. Brunel, 55 grams. I know the total weight of the things. You do know the total weight of the marbles, but you don't know what they're asking you yet, which is how many marbles there are. So to solve that, we need to do a couple of different ways we can approach it. The number of marbles equals the number of marbles equals 55 divided by 5. That's one way to approach it. The total weight divided by the weight of each individual one. Or another way to think of that is 55, the total weight, this is probably how most of you will think of it, equals the weight of each one times m. So weight of each, pretend like that was a G and an H, of each number of marbles and total. Now there's a bunch of different ways you can solve this at this point. I would recommend doing something like, well, eventually you're just going to know this one, but I would say that this is like 50 divided by 5 plus 5 divided by 5. This is that, using that distributive property sort of in a different way than we've used it with, same strategy, but just using it with division rather than multiplication. 50 divided by 5 is 10. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So m equals 11 marbles. Okay. And that is how you can go about solving that. Look, that's a lot of work. Like, I had to write stuff down. I had to go through multiple steps. I had to use different problem solving strategies. There's a lot to that problem. Be patient, go slow, take your time, pay attention to detail. These are all really important things to do when you are doing this sort of work. Let's do one more. 6 friends equally share the cost of a gift. They pay $75 and receive 21 and change. Sounds to me like they need to do a better job of figuring out how much money they need to give the cashier so they don't get so much change back. How much does each friend pay? All right, so total. Oops. This pen has a life of its own today. Equals 75. Change equals 21. How much the gift cost, how total paid, how much the gift cost, we don't know yet. Call that G actually, rather than what I just put. And how much does each friend pay? We also don't know that yet. We have to solve this, the G thing, before we can go on. So how much does each pay? We'll put P for that. Okay, so again, multi-step problem here. Don't be fooled into thinking this is 75 divided by 6 or 21 divided by 6. It's not. The reason that it's not is because we don't yet know how much the gift actually costs. We know how much money they gave the person. We know how much money they got back. We don't know what the difference between those two things is yet. Right? So let's go ahead and figure this out. Let's hope these numbers work out. 75, we'll know really soon, minus 21. 5 minus 1 is 4. 7 minus 2 is 5. Okay. So it is going to work. I'll tell you why in a minute. That equals the total cost of the item. So again, I'm going to overdo it with the notes here. Amount to cashier, change and the total cost of the item. So just because you give the cashier $75 doesn't mean it costs $75 because the person's giving you money back. So the total cost was 54. Now that we have the 54, we can figure out the next step. We can figure out this P. So P times 6, I'm going to write this as a multiplication sentence because I think that's how most of you will think of it, equals 54. So that's the cost per person times 6 people equals 54, or $54 divided by 6 people equals P. Now these are from the same fact family, so it's going to be the same answer either way. I am going to say that we have done a ton of work with our 9s facts lately, and this has probably been, it looks familiar to you. So this is a 9s facts. 9 times 6 equals 54. So P equals 9. There's a bunch of different ways you can figure that out. We just went over a few days ago, like 5 different strategies for solving 9s facts, and hopefully you've now committed a bunch of those facts to memory. So P equals 9. That means each person spends $9. And those are our 4 practice problems for today. The key to this is reading comprehension. I am checking your reading comprehension just as much as I am checking your math ability, because I will know really quickly whether or not you're understanding what's being asked of you just based on the strategies you try with the math. So make sure you understand what's being asked of you, and then go ahead and use all those math strategies that we have learned this year. All right, keep up the good work.